Hey, good morning, everyone. The big day is here. We'll see what happens. I don't know that we should expect too much. Everyone, not everyone, but 99% consensus that they're not going to do anything, but everyone will be listening after the chair comes on, I think half hour after that, 20 minutes after that, whatever it is, after the announcement that I guess their outlook that they were coming. So yesterday, prices came off of the low. Down here, that bottoming tail bar, it's not a pivot. Intraday, I guess it must have been since it poked down there, but yeah, you can see it right there. It came down into that area and a little rally. And so now it is up to the other pivot, give or take a little bit below that, below the 20, below the 50. The 20 is below the 50, but it's pointing up. Kind of a weird arrangement. But that's, the deep move that was here, the relatively deep move up, the sideways back and forth, back and forth. This is your normal scenario, 20 above the 50 and rising in an uptrend, or, here it started the downtrend, but didn't work out. It flipped right back up again. And as I mentioned yesterday, we have a trading range, larger trading range, and a smaller trading range. Right, the smaller inside the larger, and makes for difficult, if not impossible, swing type of trading in a scenario like this. Doesn't matter if it's an index or a stock, because the reward to risk just isn't there. It isn't that you can't do it. It's just that there's no price void. So why bother? So this is the setup that there is right now, based on the arrangement of these bars. And so are we going to get out of this today? Well, I don't know, but we've got this high here, and we've got, so this, once trading starts, it'll mark this as a pivot. So we'll have a lower pivot high. Obviously, that's not a pivot. We'd need 3 bars, and we're going to see what happens today. I'm just going to plenty of overhead resistance. I mean, to get through, moving average wise, to get through the 20, to get through the 50, getting through here, there's really not anything to stop it from going up a bit, at least to the 50 MA. If we can get going, but usually we're going to get that whip around scenario. So I'm not looking for anything major. Well, let me just see where prices are again here. Yeah, up here. So a decent distance down to support if that should start to drop. And I guess for the day, a decent distance up. Taking a look at the futures. You can see it's just running in place here. You can just visualize this on a closing basis. Up, right back down. Well, here was sideways, up, down. And yesterday, even with the little dip, just stopped near yesterday's close, give or take. And today, can it get up into the void? It's up against resistance here. We'll see if we can get going. Now we've got a little support down below. I expect it's going to be choppy. And this uptrend. So you always got to look to the left, as this is trending up. You can see on the hourly chart where it's coming up into. And, typically this is exactly what the smaller time frame does. It accelerates into the destination. And that's where I suspect it's going to stall. So almost there, a couple of more points. All right. SPX today, it's going to be a little wild around that time. So The average moves that have been around, now about 38 points or so, give or take. So if we go from yesterday's close up or down, um, you know, clearly that's much closer, but let me just go back again so we don't get SPX data. Give me a second here. Right in the middle of day before yesterday's range, but below the 20, up against pretty much that pivot right there. So about about an equal distance to either one of the strikes. Unlikely it's going to get up here, and you've got overhead resistance, so that should be a good number. And since it's up here, probably down below. I mean, once the news comes out, it can make some wild gyrations, but just looking at where they are right now, I think it's unlikely that it's going to get to either one of those numbers today. And you've got, excuse me, the support down here, yesterday's low, and they came down and tested there and overhead resistance. So not a bad scenario for a Fed day. And at the end of the day, I'm probably going to end up somewhere between here and here, and really not be that, I suspect, not really be much of a big deal one way or another. All right, Qs, where are they at? Little gap up above the bottoming tail bar that formed yesterday. Not a big deal. Still in the lower part of the wide range bar down, 20 and 50 clustered up there. Kind of same arrangement with this move with them, the 20 below the 50, and just that cluster right there. And all of this congestion. But while you have this congestion, there probably some kind of volume histogram that you might put on here, or some VWAP. Maybe it's going to show some point of control or market profile. Maybe it's got something here, I would imagine, because of this clustering of bars in this area. Usually that's what it does. It's already above that level. So it's down here, is what you're saying, Alex? I don't know what you're talking about. I guess maybe a VWAP is down here. Well, I guess depends on, how far back you're looking. Like if you're, so this is what makes all this stuff so subjective. Where you're pulling the data from, here, back here, all of those things begin to shift your reference point. Depending on the data you pick. It's similar to, where am I going to draw my trend line? Here or here. Everything starts moving around. So look, it's right here. Right? It's right here. This is where the congestion is, and you can see the cluster of, like, this is the middle of the range, right here and here. But the way this came down, it just sliced through all of this, and you can see the void above. It's crystal clear. And where we look at where there'll be the stiffer resistance if prices can move up is up here on the Qs. It's the same thing. Right? So, on a short-term basis, you look at where there's a cluster of bars. You can look at the hourly and see where there's pivots, and you don't need any fancy indicators or proprietary information to see where the buyers and sellers are going to be. All right. Russell started to break lower yesterday. The next reference points are right there, and it stopped right there. You can see those two pivot lows. Now, it's gapping up a little bit. We're just treading water here. It's just sideways, whipping back and forth market-wise over the last week or two. Same thing with the Dow, whipping back and forth, look to the left, and that's where yesterday's low was. So what do? You just, you put a line there, you put an alert on it, and then you go and wait down there. You apply it to all your time frames, and it's like, oh, it blipped down below, and it came right back up again. And so a little downside shakeout would have been nice if it started going sideways here. That would have been, the typical that we would have looked for. And then you start to get the rise. That's the classic downside shakeout where it breaks the support, comes up to the resistance, it goes sideways a bit, and then starts going up again. Whereas yesterday it just, and noticed a little breakdown failure there for good measure, and then things starting to move back up again. And we already looked at the spiders, but again, you can see it had to be the same thing. All right, put that over there. And then it should have been there, right? Maybe because I moved it. Yeah, give or take. All right. Always like to look at the transports, see what's going on there. All right. So obviously the news, but it's in an uptrend. It's at the 20, which is the same as the 100 on the daily. I don't have that on here, but it's retesting this pivot. And I'm wondering, can we maybe get a little W type of bottom here where this flips up? And if you notice, crude oil stalled yesterday. Lo and behold, it came up to the top of the range where the price resistance was, and we got a topping tail, and it's beginning to pull back. So this is a little bit of a plus that if oil begins to pull back. So looking at, maybe some airlines, some of them really got destroyed. I mean, JetBlue, my God. I mean, that's like a death trend, the way that thing's going down. But maybe this is going to have a reprieve. And so looking at some of the others that maybe have fared better. Well, not that this really failed better. I don't know percentage-wise what that dropped, but at least it's getting close to an area of price support that it's turned up from before. So if oil continues to drop, well, he's got some work to do to start to bottom out. But if we get at least a range expansion reversal bar, that'd be the time to at least to consider put spreads to get a power turn. And so, spread, all you need is a pattern that suggests it's not going to go lower within a certain amount of time. So, assessing something that looks like that. Just an idea. There's nothing to act on yet, but with oil starting to pull back, you'll see what sectors, and this is an obvious one, that might benefit from that. All right, let's take a peek at the futures. Going nowhere, lower part of the range. And it's just the factory work that we do. All right, same story there. S&P's going nowhere. Actually, are you asking me about SPX? Should be hard to see. I mean, because I had the things. There you go. And you can see. And you just got to see how things start moving. There you go. Is SPY in an hourly downtrend? Well, so is it making lower highs and lower lows? So you do have, which, well, I know it's gapping up here now, so I don't know that it's going to make a lower low. But anytime you get prices slicing through, the way I look at it, slicing through multiple pivots like that, while it's not in a downtrend yet, my rules say view it as a downtrend. Meaning, so to me, it's more common sense And that's my rule. If there are two prior pivot lows to the left and you've got a higher high and it slices right through that, view it as a downtrend, meaning short the next area in the appropriate location that you believe is going to be a lower high, and then see where it might go. All right. Bitcoin we looked at. I want to turn it over to Dan, chopping up here. And gold down a little bit. Nothing much really moving of significance here. So we'll see what today brings, where things end. And even while interest rates here are up a little bit, there's kind of on hold as to you can see them pulling back here a little bit. So we'll see what today brings. Things will be a little grinder in the morning. Usually you get some moving around and then things get quiet. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, so we expect a boring, choppy day. Yesterday was one of those also. The morning had some day trade shorts, the afternoon day trade longs, but we didn't get a single new swing trade. Just not confident ahead of this number. I'm personally not expecting a big deal at the end of it, but it's just a guess. I have no idea. So a couple trades I just posted here in Toyota Motors. This talk about strikes and all that. Look at this. That is totally, it's an ADR, which explains the gaps. But it's a Climo on daily, weekly, monthly. And it's a beautiful textbook. No screen. I shared it, so Greg, we're having the same problem. It's not switching. I see yours still on my other computer.
I see yours on a different platform. I don't know why.
My other platform, I see yours, and same with Tessie, Robert, Alex.
On social media, they see yours. I don't know what's going on in Zoom.
Can you just log out of yours manually, I guess? Usually mine will take over.
Wait a second.
Or here, I'll stop share also and try it again. Yeah, I still see yours on the other computer.
Yours should be displaying now.
Still showing yours. Let me log out again. See if
Wait. Do you guys in the room see Dan? He just
now I see mine. All right, finally. So I don't know what
I suspect it's because of the coaching yesterday.
All right. All right. So anyway, Toyota Tango Mike here. I'm giving a call spread. The 200s are very juicy. This is a textbook Bear Island reversal. And not only is it a Bear Island reversal, it's a Bear Island reversal following a climactic sell setup. So I don't know what the fundamentals are. I don't know nothing except what I just said. And this is a beautiful place to enter into a call spread, which are very juicy. Like the midpoint closed at $2 for a $10 wide. So that's meets it's double my 10% rule. So that's a trade. Snow I've been watching here for a while. Big gap breakout, buy setup, bottoming tail, support 2200. Over yesterday's high. Put spread. Set an early alarm. 161.50. Yeti alarm just went off. Been watching that for a couple days. Yeti, it probably would have gone, but for the hesitancy in the market, my alarm just went off. I see one print up here. If it is gapping here, this is a beautiful day trade. 5, 10, 15-minute high. We'll just play it by ear like we do every morning. Make sure broader markets are going to hold. Pins got an upgrade, but gap in the resistance could be a puts. It looks like something. I was whipping around yesterday on volume. I don't know what. Something was going on yesterday, and look, it happened left right in the middle of the day over lunch, an igniting bar. I have no idea what spurred that. Path, another buy setup, deep retracement, but roughly 50%, 20, 50 MA. I have an alarm at 1740. Daku is a Climo. It's in a downtrend, daily, weekly, monthly, look horrible. So it is a counter trend trade. Nothing official yet. I would not jump in front of this ahead of the Fed, but it's on my watch list. EXAI, I'm not sure if this was earnings or what. Big gap to resistance. And SCS, I think, was earnings 945. It's a big gap. You need a pullback. Cody was earnings 1203. I don't like the way this trades. I mean, when things just have chaotic overlapping bars, I just don't like it. But put spread, I would. Let's see if this gap holds. Put spread under this pivot. I just had earnings. We were talking about selling puts on this yesterday. Even though it's a solid downtrend, it's down a lot. Now there's a number, and we went through a couple of them in coaching last night, a couple of these food stocks. Just Kellogg got like better, kind of an inverse head and shoulders on the daily with a Climo on the weekly. KHC closing breakout. It's that resistance there. This would ideally be a great 1, 2, 3 target 50 MA, get through the Fed meeting. Hershey, I have no interest unless it takes out yesterday's high. That's still a nasty power downtrend. This Kayo, new IPO today. MGM is a Climo. I posted this yesterday's high as a put spread for Friday only. I don't trust this pattern to go out to next week. And I think I read, they got hacked also. These cyber attacks are they're no joke. Remember, people used to rob 7-Elevens and gas stations and banks. Now the smart people stay in their air condition and rob you online. It's it's one of the disadvantages of the internet. NBIX, we found this in coaching last night. It's a bio, though, is the problem. But that's a beautiful power uptrend, rising 20, 50, gap up, buy setup, range expansion, minor support. I mean, that's a beautiful pattern there. Checkpoint, closing breakout. Put spread idea, if we can get through FOMC, I'm not doing that ahead of time. It didn't have a whole lot of juice. RSG buy setup after deep retracement. Found this one in coaching. Keep an eye on it. That's a zebra, the animal sector. That has room to fall. It's a bearish consolidation and a downtrend. Target prior lows. Call spread also. AXS. I think Alex mentioned this one yesterday. And I like it. I just want it to go sideways a little bit more, get through Fed. MMC, strong. Whirlpool alarm just went off. This is a big old double bottom. Gapping up. Let me set a new alarm higher. Airbnb alarm from yesterday. Whirlpool set at 138.20. Market's coming in here a little bit after a gap up, so I'm in no rush whatsoever. So, really, anything. I thought we said we were taking today off, by the way. Bad day. Oh, Airbnb. This is another buy setup I mentioned. All right, so that if we did not have Fed day, that would be a beautiful 30-minute high buy setup. But I you know, I want to see how it closes. Just give them a heads up on it. Cody. Oh, that was earnings. You traded earnings. Yeah, but it is at resistance, Alex. But it's an igniting gap from a monster month-long consolidation. I think it's going higher. All right, Snow, Airbnb. I got alarms. Yeti alarm I mentioned. Daku alarms going off right now, but I'm not messing with this right now. Roku alarm. I don't remember setting a Roku alarm. It must be old. RSG, another buy setup. I'm just not getting in front of the Fed, but I'm finding, yeah, we're accelerating lower here a little bit. IWM 5-minute holding much better. No pattern, but I'm just saying it's holding better than the Qs. Whenever I see the Qs sell off, I just immediately look up at the fangs and some of my other usual suspects. It's just noise. That's noise right now, though. Surprised the tick is over 1100 though. That's kind of surprising to me.
It opened high because the market gapped up and immediately sold off.
Yeah, but my line is holding up there, which is the part that's surprising me, that it's holding with this sell-off.
Well, it depends on what stocks are holding, so you'd have to know what stocks are in there. Doesn't always follow the market exactly. That's why you can use it as a measure of relative strength or weakness.
Yeah, T looks great. Alex, sure. Yeah. Bullish gap, bullish consolidation. You got a void, relative strength, breaking out. That's strong, absolutely. Wow, Greg, your MCK here. Remember, Alex, our discussion? I told you, weight of the evidence was going to go through that gap fill. Yes, sirree. Whirlpool alarm again. It closes here. That's a double bottom. A no-brainer put spread, but let's see. I looked twice already, I think. It'd just be a no-brainer. And this is what we're talking about today, selling, well, today is MT Live, we're talking about 0 DTEs, but same concept, just different DTE on selling them. But this is a beautiful, beautiful pattern of saying, I don't think it's going below 135. For this Friday, though, it's 15 cents by 35, so that's no good. Next week, 65 by $1, so it's a little spready. $4 wide midpoint is 45 cents. I love the pattern. Just a little spready. Put it on the list if it closes strong. Whirlpool. Actually, I'm gonna nibble myself here, but not official, just because of the spreads right now. I'm gonna put an order out at 50 cents. Right. Look, see now this is all we've been talking about this a lot the last 10 days. You got to be careful on, is this a continuation breakdown or is it a possible breakdown failure W bottom? And so what's today? Today's Wednesday. Monday was its attempt to break out and form a double bottom, and it failed. And part of the clue is the bigger time frames. Weekly is bearish. Yesterday, oh no, this is right. But the EV stocks were getting hit yesterday too. Look at Neil. That's a nasty gap breakdown yesterday. Yeti. Yeah, Yeti looks good. Okay, UMP is a possible double bottom, but I like the weekly buy setup. So that is a feather in the hat of the W bottom holding, provided it closes strong. And then part of our checklist when we want to see what transports are doing. XTA. Yeah, that's ready for a bounce as a void. Yeah, the gap reversal is the head. Yeah. Well, I can see it on the daily, the inverse head and shoulder too, but yeah, you can always drill down for a bigger picture. Of this Toyota. Wow, Toyota. It closed at $2, the call spread, and it's only 115 now. Wow, they sucked the juice out of that. I wonder if that was pending news overnight. All right, I'm gonna try 150.